Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to tell you the story of the time I hit a deer. But before I do, it's time for story time. The time when I tell you a story, yeah. Let's get into it. The only info I feel like I need to share before I start the story is that this was my first deer I hit and the only deer I have ever hit, and hopefully my last deer I will hit. Knock on wood. So I will give you the beginning events leading up to the middle of the story where I hit the deer, and then the events that happened after I hit the deer. So one fine cold early November morning, my family decided to take a spontaneous trip up to Nebraska to see my beloved grandmother. Now, for any of you who live in the Midwest, you know how the weather works here. November weather in Oklahoma can be cold, and I mean like really, really cold. And this fine morning, it was a wee bit icy out. We woke up at 5 a.m. in the morning, and for about an hour, we pondered on whether it was too icy or not to drive and go see our grandmother. It wasn't too bad in Oklahoma, so we decided, what the heck, let's go. It'll be fine. Of course, no one wanted to drive at 6 a.m. in the morning, so guess who my family nominated to drive? Yup. Me. Yay! I get to drive in the cold and the ice at 6 o'clock in the morning. Why do I always get chosen? Probably because I always volunteer as tribute for everything else. But I did not volunteer for this. So we all hop in the car, I get behind the wheel, and I start driving. Our first stop is gonna be Topeka, Kansas. So there's Oklahoma, Kansas, and then Nebraska. So we be going up north. And the more north you go, the more colder and icier it gets. So I'm driving to Topeka. I'm just dang tired. Everyone was asleep in the car. I was driving, listening to quiet music. We are about 10 minutes outside of Topeka, and I can vividly paint the picture of what is going to happen next. So I'm driving and the roads are icy, and I am about to pass this car who's in the right lane. And as I'm passing, I see a little figure just frolicking, prancing, jumping. Basically a figure just hopping just down the middle of the highway. I see it and say nothing because it's happening so quickly. But what I do remember is Elise must have opened her eyes in that instant, because all I hear is a high-pitched scream from Elise in the back. I hit the deer. Everyone in the car wakes up, freaking out, wondering what the heck just happened. What did I just hit? I just maul over this deer, completely chill, completely in peace about what has just happened. Everyone else, like I said, is freaking out for about 30 straight seconds. My dad is looking at me, asking me what just happened, and I'm just driving wide-eyed, going, I think I just hit a deer. We all sit in silence, processing what just happened. We didn't see the deer. We were wondering where it went. Like, it should be on the side of the road or in the middle of the road. We had no idea where it went. And as I was driving for those 30 seconds that we were wondering what the heck just happened, we hear the sound of something under the car. And then the deer slowly slides out from under the car back onto the road, just sliding away. I look in my rearview mirrors and I'm like, What the heck? That thing was under our car for 30 seconds? Do I keep driving? What the heck do? I just demolished a deer. Like, I was still in shock that all of this just happened. My dad says, just keep driving. We're almost to Topeka. We'll pull over there and check out the car. So we reached Topeka. I get off the highway, and guess where the first place we stop at? I rolled right up into Starbucks.
They see me rolling, they hate it.
Yeah, not a local car mechanic place. Starbucks. I needed my coffee, and after that traumatic experience, I needed to refuel myself and regenerate myself. So I needed my Starbs. Oof, I have never called it Starbs before. That is so cringy. I needed my Starbucks, my Buckies, my buck, deer. Oh no. So we all hopped out of the car thinking it's not gonna be that much damage. Surely it's fine. It was a pretty tiny deer. No big deal, right? Oh, honey. Boy, were we wrong. The whole front was bashed in. Fluids were spewing out of every crevice of this car. There was a ratchet smell going on. We look at this situation for about 10 seconds. Then we look at each other. And then we slide right into Starbucks. And we ignore the situation. Whoops. After I got my coffee and fueled myself and kind of processed what happened, we all went back out to look at the car and see what damage was done. And this whole time, my dad was deciding if we should continue driving to Nebraska. What? Excuse me, sir. Half our car is missing. How do you think we're gonna make it up to Nebraska? And then he suggested, okay, let's just drive back home.
Bruh.
As I said, half our car is missing. You want us to drive 3 hours back home with half our car missing? What? Our car is completely smashed in with fluids exploding everywhere. We are not gonna make it 3 hours back home. We are not gonna make it anywhere. I don't even think we'll be able to make it out of the Starbucks parking lot. My dad still decides, okay, well, let's just drive the 3 hours home. Hopefully we'll make it home. We start driving home, and immediately, right when we get on the highway, the heat is not working. It is blasting out cold air. So 1 minute into the drive, our hands and faces were completely numb. It was freezing. We were freezing our rear ends off. And then another minute down the road as we were driving, we start to hear this sputtering sound. I knew in this moment we probably should pull over. When a car is making a weird sputtering sound, you better pull over. Luckily, there was a car place right off the highway, so we went ahead and rolled right into that car place.
They see me rolling.
And the car mechanics there said it'd probably take a week to fix our car. So we had to rent a car to drive home. The problem with this, guys, is I have a big family. There is 8 of us in my family, and they could not find a car to fit all of us in. The biggest car they had could only fit 5 people. They did say there was gonna be another car that was coming in 2 hours that would fit our whole family, but obviously we'd have to wait. So we had to decide whether we wait for 2 hours or we all cram into a car and start driving illegally down the road with all of us crammed into this tiny car. My dad chose not to do illegal things and just wait the 2 hours. Good choice, Father. Good choice. As we were waiting in this car mechanic place, there was really nothing to do, so we took a bunch of pictures of the car. My family laughed at me how I could just destroy our car so quickly. It was not my fault, okay? The deer came out of nowhere. We were taking pictures. I mean, that was the only thing we could do really to pass time. There wasn't much else to do. Another car finally came to fit all of us in there, and by this time it was lunch, so we went ahead and stayed in Topeka and ate some really good food. Thank goodness. Blessings for food. And then we drove 3 hours back home. Yeah, my family made sure that I did not drive this time. They did not nominate me to drive home. No. We made it safely back home, and I have not hit a deer since then. Knock on wood. Hopefully that is the first and last deer I ever hit in my life. Knock on wood. The sad thing is I lost all of the pictures that I took when we were at the car mechanic place. And there were some really good pictures showing our car and of us. I mean, okay, sorry, it is sad that I hit the deer, but it's sad I lost all those pictures. I wanted to look back at those and... Actually, why would I want to look back on that? That was a traumatic experience. Never mind. But there were a lot of pictures of the demolished car that I wish I could show you as proof of how half our car was literally missing. But I did find one picture. So I will show you the last surviving picture of that day right here. I look so enthused. It was a dang good time. Not really. So the moral of this story, there is really no moral. I guess all I can give you is advice for those of you who have never hit a deer before, and I hope you never have to experience this. But if you do, obviously you can plan and think about what you would do in the moment, but it could be completely different. Like your natural instinct might kick in. You might do something completely different than what you planned. My natural instinct was just to maul the deer over and not brake or swerve or anything. So my advice for you is, if you ever see a deer and you don't have enough time to stop, do not try to swerve and miss the deer. That's like the worst thing you could do, because if you swerve, you could completely like flip your car, and that is no bueno. I suggest just either try to brake it as fast as you can or just hit the deer. I know, guys, I know. I love animals and I hate the fact that I hit a deer and I hate the fact that people hit deers, but it's just, it happens, it's life. And if that ever happens to you, don't feel bad about it. It's the circle of life. Okay, actually it's not the circle of life. That was a bad example. Just don't swerve, especially if it's icy out. So I feel like my instinct that day was good. I just kept driving straight. I didn't swerve and I just lightly braked it after I hit it. My dad 100% believes till this day that I was asleep when I hit that deer. I was not asleep, guys. I was not asleep. I was just in zombie mode. So maybe I was half asleep and zoned out, but I was not asleep. I was partly awake. Whenever I bring this up to my family, I do joke and say, hey guys, remember that one time when I hit that deer and we were all asleep? Oh man. Anyways, guys, that is my story. I hope you enjoyed it. Obviously, it's sad that I hit a deer, but it happens. I need to stop thinking about this. Okay. If you guys enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to the channel, you guys should do that because I'd love to have you all back here. Comment below if you want to see more story times from me, and also comment stories of times that maybe you hit a deer or some type of animal. That's so depressing. But I would still like to hear your stories. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day. I love you all so much. Peace and blessings.